Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. We're going to be talking about player incomings of the summer transfer window of 2025. Obviously, the window's closed now in England, and we did a lot of business. We got rid of a lot of players as well, so we had a lot of sales that went through. But today's going to be focused on player incomings, so players that are now at Chelsea, presumably going to be playing for Chelsea. We won't be talking about Kendry Pyers or Mike Penders, players like that, Mamadou Sarr, just because they're not actually playing for Chelsea at the moment. So I don't think it's relevant to speak about them right now. But we're going to be speaking about everyone else. So if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, we're going to start off in the midfield, okay? Dario Asugo, all right? 20 years old, midfield cover for Caicedo. That's why he was signed. He was signed from Portugal, Sporting, £18.5 million. And he penned an 8-year deal with Chelsea. It's a contract which expires in 2033. And his contract is reportedly around £30,000 a week. So not a high contract at all, to be honest with you. I mean, when I see some of the deals that Chelsea have done, I think, that's fair. Putting a player on 100k, 120k. That was what we signed Tosin on, for example, £120,000. When I see some of the deals that we're getting at the moment, some of these low contracts, I just think it's if it is true that Asugo's on £30,000 a week, I think that's a great contract for Chelsea. And obviously, if he performs, they're going to look to extend that deal, and then they'll put him on 60 or 70 or 80. So it's a great position to be in when you sign players on that wage. Easy to flip. Very, very profitable signing as well. If you do want to flip him, you probably make at least 10, 20 million if you were to sell him. But in terms of that position, just going back to the football side of things, and Dario Asugo is the player that we needed, because Romeo Lavia constantly injured, never available. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall's left the club now. And we need cover for Caicedo, because Caicedo can't do it all. All right. There's no disagreement that Caicedo is a world-class player. Everybody knows he's tip-top. He's top-notch. But he cannot play 65 games of football a season on his own. He needs support. And that's where Asugo comes in. That's why he was signed as cover for Caicedo. So I'm going to give this signing I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, an 8 out of 10. Listen, he's very good defensively, Asugo. He can go up and down the field as well. A little bit of a question mark about his distribution, because his last spell in Spain, because he was on loan at Las Palmas, if I'm not wrong, they didn't really play out from the back. So that's the only concern I have. How's he going to fit into the system? But in terms of the profile, I think it's a great signing, an affordable signing, and a great wage as well. We're going to move on to Esteval Willian. Wow, what a player. I was in America for the Club World Cup. I saw that goal he scored against us for Palmeiras. That this guy is going to win a Ballon d'Or at some point in his career. He has to win the Ballon d'Or at some point in his career. He's 18 years old, and he's already basically in the conversation amongst Chelsea fans that he needs to be starting the majority of games. And if he's not starting, he needs to come off the bench at some point. He's a winger. He can play as a 10. Only £29 million. Now, the fee could rise to 52 million with add-ons, but if you're looking at the quality of player, the age, you can get 10 years out of this guy, and he'll still be 28 years old. If you wanted to sign another contract later down, I can't remember the last time we did a deal like that. I mean, this is the closest thing, if I'm honest, to Cole Palmer in terms of an impact in that specific position. I mean, I know we like João Pedro. We're going to speak about him in a second, but he's a little bit older than Esteval. This guy's unreal. His contract again until 2033. Apparently, he's only on about £30,000 a week, according to salaryleaks.com. But I'll be honest with you, I think that's absolute nonsense. If he must be on much more than that. I would be surprised if Esteval isn't on. He's got to be on close to 100k a week. But those numbers, I can't find those numbers anywhere. So if anyone knows his salary in the comments, let me know down below. I'm very, very intrigued to see what that is, but I don't think you're signing a deal that long at 30k a week. I just don't think it's going to happen. especially when you're a player of that level. For me, this is a 9 out of 10 signing. 9 out of 10. This will become a 10 5 years down the line if he's a starter for Chelsea, and he's obviously been fantastic, and he can be hopefully a long-term player for us, maybe become a Chelsea legend. But right now it's a 9, just because the potential's there. It's affordable. He's so good to watch, and he makes you want to fall in love with football. So very, very good signing, Willian. Liam Delap, 22 years old. He's a striker, and we managed to get him from Ipswich for £30 million. Now, most people would say, how the hell did you get him for 30 million? But we were lucky. It was a release clause that was triggered because Ipswich got relegated. And then he's obviously signed a contract until 2031. He's the number 9 as well. So he's got that curse. And he's going to be competing for that striker position this season with João Pedro. And obviously Mark Guiu's come back as well because Jackson's gone. But I'll be honest with you, Liam Delap is one of the signings I'm really, really excited to see at Chelsea. I think Liam Delap is the closest striker we have had in years, probably ever, since Diego Costa. Okay, I'm going to name 3 strikers, and I'm going to put them all within the same sort of bracket. And I'll explain why in a second. Didier Drogba, Diego Costa, Liam Delap. Now, a lot of you are thinking, Alex, why the hell are you putting Delap amongst the likes of Didier Drogba, arguably Chelsea's greatest striker ever, Diego Costa, certainly our best striker in modern times, and where does Delap come close? And here's the thing. I'm not talking about goals here. I'm not talking about scoring in big games, nothing like that. We haven't had the chance to see Delap show what he can do at that level. So we haven't had he hasn't been here long enough, right? So very, very difficult to say what he's going to do. But what we can agree on is it's great value. He's young, and his playing style is as close as it gets to both of those 2 strikers of what we've had in the past. Think of all the strikers that we've signed, guys. Think of all of them. Gonzalo Higuain, Morata, Tammy Abraham, Timo Werner. Like, the list of strikers we have had, that they've just been, there's no better word to say, they're just pussies, absolute pussies, falling on the floor, diving. I don't see that with Delap. Finally, I see someone with a pair of claws, willing to take on defenders, willing to cause problems. Don't get me wrong, he's walking on the edge of that line, but he had no red cards last season. You can complain all you want about yellow cards, never ever get sent off in a game. And this is the striker that Chelsea fans, especially match-going fans, have been begging for. Someone to cause problems, someone to show a physical presence. I really think that Liam Delap is going to be a huge success for Chelsea. And I think when you look at the value, when you look at the age, he's going to be on 100k a week, apparently. And the fact that he's taken on that number 9 shirt as well. He has the character, he has the ability, he has everything going for him to be a massive success. So I'm going to give Liam Delap, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 in terms of a signing. We don't know how good he's going to be yet. Obviously, he just got injured. But from what I've seen so far, I've been very, very impressed. And obviously, I hope he recovers soon from his injury. Another forward, 9.5, 10, João Pedro. Is he attacking midfielder? Is he a winger? Is he a striker? Apparently, he can do all of it. He's 23 years old. We snapped him up from Brighton, £55 million, around 55, 60 million. And he signed a very long contract, 8 years until 2033. He is one of the higher earners. He's going to be on around sort of 120 to 135,000 pounds a week. So he is going to make more than Liam Delap. But I mean, based on what we've seen so far from João Pedro, you can justify it. He has been a revelation to this team, and he seems to be one of those players that was so underhyped when he came in, and now everybody seems to have jumped on the bandwagon. We love João Pedro. We always knew he could do this. Let's not kid ourselves. I didn't know what to expect when we signed him. He scored 10 goals for Brighton in the Prem last season, and 5 of them were penalties. I think he's already scored 5 and 5 for Chelsea. So he has been a revelation to us, and that Brazilian flair as well. You get that with João Pedro, and that's something that it's just so good to see, isn't it? It's so good to see. Not really an awful lot I need to say because he's performed already. So I think in terms of filling that striker position, you got Delap, you got João Pedro as well. He has to be a 9 out of 10 because not only can he play as a number 9, he can play as a 10 as well. So you have that cover if Palmer isn't available and if Esteval doesn't play in that position. Very, very happy with João Pedro. Jamie Gittens, listen, this is a signing that I have to admit I found underwhelming. It was around 55 million in total for Jamie Gittens, if you want to include add-ons, etc. He's only 20 years old. We signed him from Dortmund. He's going to be on about 90k a week, and he signed a 7-year contract. For me, we overspent on Jamie Gittens. That's the God honest truth. We overspent. He's a good player, not a great player. He has potential, but I haven't seen it yet. I think this is probably the most underwhelming transfer out of all of them, if you want to factor in the risk as well. I know people want to speak about Buonanotte. We'll speak about him in a second. But Jamie Gittens, I'm going to give that transfer a 5 out of 10, just because I'm not particularly impressed. But that's with the view that I believe he could be an asset to us long term. But I don't see a massive impact from Jamie Gittens this season, if I'm honest with you. And that brings me to our next player, Alejandro Garnacho, who we signed from Manchester United for 40 million. Similar age, slightly older than Gittens. He's 21. He's a winger as well. And listen, his wage at United was quite low, so he's going to be making more than that at Chelsea. I don't know the exact number, but he has been, in terms of overhyped, it's been the total opposite with Alejandro Garnacho. People have been shitting on him. Hashtag no to Garnacho. Like, I thought that was pathetic, Chelsea fans doing that. I think he's going to be a good player for us this season. I'm not sitting here saying he's going to be a world beater, but I think Garnacho is going to do good things at Chelsea. And that determination that he will have to prove United fans wrong, I think will drive his success at Chelsea. What better thing than to leave the club where it was toxic, bad environment, people were criticizing, all that attention from the press, and to come into a totally different environment where we've just won 2 trophies, we're in the Champions League, you're getting a pay rise, you're in a different city. I just think that pressure is not on Garnacho anymore like it was. We obviously want to see him perform, but I think the environment's better, and I think we'll see him thrive in that sense. But, you know, you have to see it first, don't you? So I'm going to give Garnacho a 6 out of 10. I think it was a fair transfer fee. I know Chelsea fans wanted less than 40, but if you look at Man United fans, they wanted 50, 55 million. So I think we met in the middle. It's a fair deal. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I think it's a fair deal. Facundo Buonanotte, a loan signing from Brighton. Very young attacking midfielder. You can play as a 10 or on the right. He's left-footed. It's a loan. And listen, he came right at the end of the window. We don't know what to expect from Buonanotte, but apparently, you know, he was excited to play Champions League football for Chelsea. Well, that's ironic because he was left out of our initial Champions League squad. So that's a little bit awkward there. But he's a rotation option, I guess. Very, very difficult to sit here and say that I'm really, really excited by Buonanotte. I don't know what to expect from him. But do I think he's a player that can help us? Yes. Nothing more than depth, really. So I'd expect him to start against Lincoln in the cup, but the majority of Premier League games, certainly not Champions League games, I don't think that Buonanotte will have a huge part to play this season. But again, if we're winning loads of matches, if we're playing in all these different competitions, obviously we're going to need depth, and that's where Buonanotte comes in. I don't know what to expect. It's low risk. It's not high risk. It's just underwhelming, isn't it? So yeah, I'll give Buonanotte a 5 out of 10. Joel Hatto, 19 years old defender. People have been saying to me, Alex, why do we keep signing 19-year-olds? But guess what? This is a 19-year-old who has captained Ajax. We signed him for around 37 million. Bear in mind, Ajax wanted 10 million more than that. They wanted 47, but they were scared to miss out on the transfer fee. So this was fantastic business for us. We're talking about the financials. But then if we flip that over on the football side of things, I think it's a great signing as well. What depth did we have for Marc Cucurella last season at left back? The answer is 0. We had none. All right. We saw Gusto playing on the left. We saw Reece James playing on the left. I'm sure we had a game where Badiashile played as a left back as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But how nice is it going to be to see a player who can actually slot in on that left-hand side and handle himself? You know, his wage isn't high again. 7-year contract that he signed. Captain Ajax again, guys. I've got to highlight that. That is so impressive. And I think that Hato could be a really, really important player for us, covering Cucurella. In terms of depth, I think that is as good as you get. Long-term signing, affordable. If you want to sell him, you can. But at the same time, I think he's more than capable to be a part of Chelsea's squad for a long, long time. I'm going to give the Ural Hato deal an 8 out of 10. I think that is great business that Chelsea have done there. And then I just want to finish off with Andre Santos. All right, he's been on loan at Strasbourg. He tried to have his loan at Nottingham Forest. That didn't work out, so we sent him to France. He had another year at Strasbourg with Petrovic, and well, Petrovic is obviously gone now. He's gone to Bournemouth. But Andre Santos is going to be another key component of our midfield. One thing I love about Andre Santos is he feels reliable when he's on the pitch. I don't get scared. I feel good about having Andre Santos. I feel comfy. I don't think there's really a better way for me to describe it. I haven't seen enough of him starting games consistently to really go, oh, I love him. I think he can start every week. But I think there's certainly an argument for Santos to rotate with a player like Enzo Fernandez, for example. And again, like we spoke about with the and Caicedo, you have to rotate at some point. So I'm going to give Andre Santos, again, when you look at value for money, didn't even spend 20 million on him. We spent less than 20 million. Fantastic signing. I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 as well. So overall, when you look at the incomings, when you look at the players Chelsea have brought in, you can see that generally it's positive. All right. Asugo's a good deal. Delap, like all of these players, decent, but still question marks around Buonanotte. Garnacho obviously needs to prove his worth, and I do think that Jamie Gittins is a slightly underwhelming signing as well. We definitely overpaid for him there. And that's it really, guys. So let me know if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, guys, and all the